Some of our most downloaded items are those that try to make your work life a little easier and maybe a little bit more sane, according to my next guest, who is Therese McCarthy of Mac Consulting. Your brain is a filing cabinet, and if you understand that, then you can rethink your thinking and become much more efficient in so doing. Morning, Therese.
Good morning, Colonel. How are you?
My brain is a filing cabinet. You are going to make me more efficient.
That's a very good way of putting it. Yes, we file so much information now that we've almost become like social morons. Now, excuse the pun on the name.
Moron, social moron. Yes.
That wasn't planned, I promise. Not. Yes, and we're dumping, if you like, loads of information into our brain non-stop, morning, noon and night. And as a result, we're actually attracting more and more information. We've become like almost social junkies, and we can't resist going after more information. And the more we do it, and we have from one social media to the next, to the next, to the next, the more we want.
So save me the cost of your fee and tell me, how do I stop doing exactly what you've described?
Okay, there are a number of ways, but the first way is obviously to understand your own brain. I would say 99.9% of people don't understand their own brain. Their car takes them, if you like, from A to B to C to Z or wherever they want to go, and they understand that if it's broken down, they take it into the mechanic to work, and they do their NCT and they pay for their service and they put all the stuff into the car. But if we think of our car like a brain, we're actually dumping like big bags of rubbish into our car morning, noon and night, to the extent there's no room for us to drive. So what do we do in order to stop that? Well, we've first of all obviously got to understand our brain and how it works and the law of attraction. And what we're doing is, if we focus on positivity, we're attracting positivity.
Okay.
If we focus on negativity, we're attracting negativity.
All right.
And the filing cabinets in our brain are storing all those mixed data.
So I will hang around with positive people, keep away from the negative people, but how am I going to unjumble my brain? In my case, for example, I'll read vast amounts because I'm interested in vast amount. Are you telling me I'm confusing myself? But I'm actually interested in this stuff.
Yes, you're exhausting your brain. Even though we've got 100 billion brain cells, or neurons, if you like, what's happening? And really, you can't understand that number because it's so big.
Yeah.
It's really, each person's brain has the capacity, if you've got all the mobile phones in the world and you put them together, that's the capacity of the brain. So if we're not ever vigilant, like guardians of our brain, mindful, or soldiers of our brain and our mindset and what goes in and what comes out.
So I'll stop you there and I'll ask you, how do I stop, in your way of thinking, my brain getting just dumped on? Okay,
you have to, first of all, to understand the brain. That's the first thing. Mm-hmm. And the second thing is, you've got to be ever vigilant of your attitude or perspective. Our perspectives are all completely different, even though we may have the exact same experience. So if 'tis a case we don't know how to manage our brain and our own brain cells and our mindset, in other words, watching what goes in and what goes out. Yeah, sorry.
So no, it's exactly, I'm picking up on the point that you're raising there, which is, what do I try to avoid putting into my little brain? All of 100 million, billion, whatever I have up there.
Well, you stay away from the negative and you stay away from the rubbish, because our brain is becoming exhausted with all this information.
But what do you call rubbish? I mean, for this program, I have, for example, been looking at the share price of Philip Van Heusen. I've been looking at manifolds for heating systems. I've been looking at your website, etc. Like, we're like magpies.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Well, you see, you're looking at the information, be it for somebody you're interviewing or for a specific task or something you're focused on. And that's very good, because you've planned what you do and how you do it, and you know exactly what you're going to focus on. What's happening is, with a huge percentage of people across the world, because of social media, is they're jumping from one thing to another. They're being drawn in, or like a magnet, to different bits of information that they actually don't necessarily need. And what's happening is, almost like dirty oil, it's clogging up the brain.
I accept that, but how do I stop it?
You have to be vigilant, and you have to set your goals and your tasks. and know exactly what you want to do and how you want to do it, and manage your time well, back to the old skills of yesteryear, but also knowing how to manage your brain, knowing that there are filing cabinets in your brain that store negativity, that there are filing cabinets in your brain that store positivity, and because of the law of attraction, it will dip in and out of those different filing cabinets to attract what you need to know. For example, if you get out of bed in the morning and you're in bad form, automatically you're going to say, oh, I've got to go to work today, I don't feel good, I'm fighting with my parents, I'm fighting with my this, I've arguments with this, and it just explodes out of all proportion. But if you switch to say, I'm going to have a magical day, I'm bringing in everything I want for the day, people are working with me, I'm going to have a fantastic day, everything is going to go well, it changes your perspective. And what happens, because of the law of attraction, you'll attract other things into your life and other good things.
Briefly, how long or how quickly does it take to retrain the brain in the way that you suggest? Okay, well, what Mech Consulting does is we work very closely. If we're working in a company, we work very closely with management and staff and find out exactly what both want. Not just what management want, not just what staff want, and merge the thinking of both. That's the key. We also do speaking engagements around the world, and we also do executive mentoring for individuals. So how long does it take to retrain the brain? You've got to first of all become aware of how the brain works, and it's a step-by-step process. But in terms of, I would say a half day to a day in terms of perspective and attitude. Like there was one particular individual from Engineers Ireland, and he said, I really hated my last job. I now realise why I hated it. Most of it was my own perspective. So Mac Consulting trains people to change their attitude and perspective to their own advantage to increase their happiness quotient. Therese McCarthy of, as she said, Mac Consulting, thank you very much. Thank you, Conal. Some of our most downloaded items are those that try to make your work life a little easier and maybe a little bit more sane, according to my next guest.